Hello, we are going to present chapter 3 of our interactive project. Our team is made up of Lucero Claudio, Valeria Gerón, Al Ortiz, Alberto Rocha, and me, Andrea Briceño. First of all, our integrative project is an export plan of lowered doors to Puerto Rico. These doors are manufactured by a local company called Oropesa Puertas y Madera. This company is mainly engaged in the manufacture and sale of wooden doors and wood. Now we're going to present the third chapter of this project called Product Description, which corresponds to the Merceology subject. As a first point, we have a name and image of the product. As we can see, it is a wooden door called lowered door. This name is its commercial name, its common name, and then how was the name of the product created? Well, the name was not created by the company. The name of lowered door is one that has existed since this kind of doors have been sold. The company just used the commercial and the common name of the product. Then, does the product have a label? Right now, the lowered door that the company sells do not have a label because they didn't think until now that the label was necessary for the product, as they sell these kind of doors to resellers. So the resellers are the ones who decide whether or not to label the product. The company still has some doubts about labeling door by door, but they understand that this is necessary for the exportation. Finally, let's talk about the packaging. It does not have a representative image, but since the door does not have a label, a packaging list must be presented in order to import the door in Puerto Rico with some information, such as the exact quantity of the articles contained in each one of the boxes, containers, or inside of the chosen packaging, the numbers, signs, or symbols that identify the merchandise. It is necessary to package all the merchandise of the same type, annex the copy of the invoice, and it is also necessary to write a detailed description of the product, specifying its weight and its exact volume. And it is also necessary to indicate the measure of the packages.
Okay, the next topic is the 3.2, which is the merceological analysis. First, we have the name of the product. The common name of the product is lowered door, and the commercial name is the same, lowered door. Next, we have the definition. We can say that the lowered doors can also be called slatted doors. And a lowered door has some part of it filled with louvers. These allow the air and the light to pass while the door is closed. The louvers are framed openings in the door and filled with horizontal slats, which are shown in the image. And then we have the origin and nature. Its origin is the plant kingdom. This because it is made of pine wood, a tree. Then the presentation of the product. This product, it is presented in individual pieces without any kind of bag or box. Then we have the use and function. The lower door have a variety of uses, whether aesthetic, decoration, or a good viable way to maintain the ventilation within a room or a closet. It can be found in urban, suburban, and rural homes. also in departments and even in restaurants. The composition, well, the lower door is made of pine wood, as I mentioned before. The wood used for the elaboration of this kind of door has followed a process called kiln drying, and this process allows the elimination of plaques in the wood. It reduces the level of humidity and makes it stronger than the green one. Then the characteristics of the product, we can say that the size of the door is 0.65 meters length and 2.13 meters height. This door is formed by four main parts, which are the stiles that can also be called crossbars, that are the side parts of the door. The rail that are the top and the bottom part of the door, and the louvers, which are these small pieces that makes the door have its peculiarity. And the fourth part is the wooden plugs, and these are the ones that join the crossbars with the rails.
Then we have the obtaining method. This method starts when the fabric receives the wood that is going to be used to produce the louver doors. This wood has already followed a process that is called kiln drying. This process allows the wood to be stronger than other woods and to be faster when drying than just drying it with the sun. Then, the wood without knots is selected to form the louver door. So in this way, the fabric won't have problems in the future when cutting the wood. Then, the wood is cut in small pieces. These small pieces are going to form the both sides of the door that are called crossbars or stiles. These small pieces have grooves in the up and down so they can be joined with the other pieces and form the whole crossbar. After the crossbar is formed, the rails are produced. The rails are the upper and down part of the wood of the door. This means that with the crossbar, they are going to form the door frame. After the door frame is created, they start putting the pieces that are called louvers. These louvers allow the pass of air and light through the door. So when they finish putting the louvers in the door frame and in the inside part of the door, they can continue and put the door inside of the industrial sander. This sander eliminates any roughness of the door and it gives the final touch to the lower door. Then we have the morphological resume. About the section of the lower door is the section 9, the one that corresponds to wood, charcoal, and manufactures of wood, cork, and articles thereof, manufactures of spartery or basket work. The chapter is the chapter 44, wood, charcoal, and articles of wood. Then we have the heading, that is 4418, works and carpentry pieces for buildings, including cellular boards, assembled floor covering boards, and roofing boards for roofs or facades, shingles, and shake of wood. We have the subheading, that is 441820, doors and their frames, counter frames, and thresholds. The tariff fraction is the 44182001 with the same name as the subheading, doors and their frames, counter frames, and thresholds. The louver doors can also be called slated doors, and a louver door receives this name because it is formed with louvers. As I already explained, the louvers allow the pass of air and light through the door. So basically, the louver door is formed by three main parts: the crossbar or stiles that are the sides of the door, the rails that are the upper and down part of the door, and finally the louvers that are the pieces that allow the pass of air and light through the door.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the tariff fraction, that in this case is going to be 4418.20.01. That is doors, under frames, counterframes, and thresholds, which in Spanish will be something like puertas y sus marcos, contramarcos y umbrales. But also to get to this fraction, we have to take a look into the legal notes of the section, chapters, and headings. So now let's take a quick look at the basis according to notes. Okay, so due to the characteristics of our product, it is considered to be within the section number 9, that it will include charcoal, wood, and manufactures made out of wood, such as the cork and articles thereof, the manufactures of espartry and basket work. This section lacks legal notes, so the only option we have is to compare the characteristics of our product with the legal notes of the chapters included in the section. Luckily for us, the characteristics fits within the legal notes of chapter 44, that would be wood, charcoal, and articles made out of wood. The legal notes of chapter 44 explain that this chapter includes products made out of wood, such as carpentry and semi-manufactured articles, and other products made out of wood in general, and even raw wood. And then we go to the heading 44.18. And well, this heading includes products of carpentry used in the construction of buildings, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So the products here are actually made out of natural wood, or it can even be made of processed wood. And at the last, well, there aren't really a lot of legal notes in the subheading, but as I mentioned earlier, the characteristics of the lower doors fit the characteristic or the name of the subheading 44.18.20, that is doors, under frames, counter frames, and thresholds. Okay, so now let's jump to the non-tariff regulations, and this is really fast. When it comes to the export operations in Mexico, well, Mexico doesn't really have non-tariff regulations. However, when it comes to Puerto Rico, the non-tariff regulations of Puerto Rico are established in Chapter 8. But actually, these regulations are mainly just tips or ideas of what to do in certain situations for leaving things clear in, for example, in the title of a heading or a chapter or a section, what things are included and what to do if certain situation comes. So now at last we have the compliance with rules, and for this operation we're going to be using general rule number 1 and general rule number 6, and the complementary rule number 1, the complementary rule number 2, and the complementary rule number 3.
Well, I'm going to present you the SWOT of our product. So first we're going to talk about the strengths that we have, well, that the product has. First one is that the pine wood is a stronger durable type of wood. Also, the product follows the kiln drying process. That is, this helps to eliminate plaques and make the wood like more resistant or stronger than the natural process. That is the drying it with the sun. That is like the natural process. Then we have that the pine wood is inexpensive because it is a kind of tree that grows really, really faster than other type of trees, or yeah, another type of trees. Then we have that pine wood combines a lot with another type of pine wood, and we took this as a strength. Also, thanks to the material of the doors, they have an aesthetic like that is easy to integrate into different space of the house or any place that you want to put this type of wood. Also, we have that the door steels are put with different pieces that are really can be easily replaced with another piece. So this is also a strength. Then we have the opportunities. Well, as opportunities, we see that the competitiveness in the market allows the product to develop a better product. Also, that the government subsidies allow the doors to have a special certification. We have also that better marketing thanks to the social media. that is cheaper and is easier to have a better marketing. Also, the trend to buy through the e-commerce that is increasing the online sales right now because some conditions. And finally, the free trade agreements that with other countries allow the better conditions for the export of the product. As weaknesses, we see that it's not advisable to change the natural color of the woods because it can affect the appearance. Also, we have the delivered door fabricated by this company. It doesn't have any certification, and this can affect the sales. So another is that although it is a strength, pine wood is prone to have scratches and dents. Uh, Also, that due to the lack of a label, more documents are needed for the transportation and for the trade operations. Another weaknesses is that there is the possibility that it can expand or contract, and it depends on the conditions on the humidity. And finally, that the pine wood requires more special than other woods. Finally, as traits, we have the first one, the non-tariff regulations of import and certifications to import wood in other countries. The health emergencies, like right now the COVID, reduce the sales in a big way. Also, that the economic crisis that a country can face. For other reasons, the borders can be closed, and this will make impossible the pass through the borders of our product. Uh, Also, the pests that can affect the pine, and this also can affect the final quality of the product. And finally, we have forest fires or other natural disasters that can end with the provision of raw material or can make it expensive because of the lack of the raw material. So this is all for us, and thank you for your attention.